Ooh. It's being recorded already. Button. Hey, everybody. Welcome to your October Masterclass. I'm Jeremiah Taylor, part of the team here at Ojitsu. All you that were on here, you saw like the shift there.
Yeah, night and day. You can turn it on. Turn it on.
We're here. So yeah, hey, if y'all just joined, thanks so much for joining. For those of you that were here for the pre-show, it's amazing. If you weren't here for the pre-show, you missed it. But jump in the chat. We're gonna have an awesome session today. We're gonna have some Q&A. So jump in the chat, tell us where you're joining from. And we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get started. We got a really great speaker today. I'm excited to hear Barry. Cool. Awesome. Chicago.
I'm excited as well. Wow. You got users everywhere.
Everywhere. Raleigh, North Carolina, Omaha, Nebraska, Maryland. Let's see, it's 9:30 on the West Coast. Who's on the West Coast? Anybody on the West Coast?
Yeah, I saw San Diego. I saw someone on my team in San Diego. I saw Jordy join.
Barry Shapiro says me. Barry's on the West Coast. All right, there's Westlake Village. Tyson, I saw you yesterday. I was on your time zone yesterday. I'm Central today. Shannon's in Orange County. Jordan says hi, Chris. Gary Holloway's in Scottsdale. Okay, all right. We got some. I feel like 9:30 a.m. is considered early riser in real estate agent land. In the rest of the world, that is not an early riser gang, in case you didn't know that.
But for great agents, it's not an early riser.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Great agents have been up for several hours.
Dominant thoughts, Chris. Dominant thoughts. Love
it. Man.
You want me to introduce Barry, or is there any housekeeping stuff you're gonna do?
Yeah. There's some housekeeping stuff. Let's give people like 30 more seconds to join. For those of you that just joined, this is not the Chris and Jeremiah show. This is actually our October masterclass with Barry Jenkins. You are not late. We're just having some technical challenges. This time I'll take responsibility since it's being recorded.
Actually, you did tell me to hit that button.
I did. I told Chris he could start the webinar. We started a little early. We had some fun. You got to see Chris dance. So if you don't follow him on TikTok, you got like the live version of TikTok. It's great. But hey, here's the deal today. It's 11:32. Let's get going. This is being recorded. So in the event that you have to drop in the middle, no sweat, we'll send it out afterwards. This is our October Masterclass here at Ojo. Thank you all so much for being on and joining us today. My name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm part of the team here at Ojo. We've got an hour set aside. We've got an awesome speaker that I'm going to let Chris introduce today. Barry's going to give us probably 45 minutes of content. We'll get some Q&A in there. And then in the last 5 minutes, there are some really important housekeeping things that we need to go over with you here at Ojo. And so we're going to bait you into staying on for the last 5 minutes with a merch giveaway. So if you want an Ojo shirt, maybe an Ojo hat, maybe an Ojo mug, hang out till the end. We'll ask you to comment and we'll give some merch away. So without further ado, Chris, I will turn it over to you to introduce Barry.
Hey, so everyone, first of all, thanks for being here. We know that we do these every month and we ask you to be here every month, and most of you are, and that's awesome. We know you're committed to learning and growing and getting better, and that's what we love about our partnerships. Barry Jenkins runs one of the most productive, largest teams in the country, 100 agent team. He's in Virginia Beach. He also wrote a great book that he probably won't, because it's so humble, won't talk about much, but I will, and you should all get it. It's called Too Nice for Sales. You can find it on Amazon. It's a book for us. It's a book for real estate agents and people in sales. One of the things that I'm so excited about you sharing, Barry, is, and for all you that watching this or watching the recording of this later, Barry gets it. You know, he understands every aspect of what we do and what works. And like so many things in real estate, it's the little things, it's the little nuances, it's the little adjustments, it's the little tweaks that deliver oversized results. And I think Barry's going to be sharing a bunch of that today. So Barry, I'm going to let you take it and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate the Ojo community. The product that you guys have developed is truly providing opportunities for all of us at scale to have a consumer that says, yes, I want to talk to an agent is incredibly valuable, because I could spend 8 hours a day trying to prospect and find humans that want to talk to me, and find a couple, right? Put a lot of work in, right? Do the work and make those phone calls, deal with a lot of rejection, and then find a couple people that want to talk to me. That's incredibly valuable. But I think all of us can agree that we want to make more money on the Ojo platform. We want to turn every conversation into a transaction-ready buyer. And you know, over my 25-year career, I've dealt with a lot of different lead sources, and I learned something really early on, is that most consumers that are online lack clarity on what their needs are. And when you juxtapose the fact that the consumer lacks clarity, right, they don't know exactly what they want, agents are looking for leads that know exactly what they want. And there's a fundamental disconnect between where the consumer is at and what the agent is looking for. And so you guys are looking for people that know what they want. The consumer doesn't know what they want, and you're missing each other. Now, what does this look like? You call them, you get a lead, and they say, yes, I did tell the representative that I wanted to speak to an agent. However, I'm not ready yet. However, I'm not sure what I want yet, right? And instantly we get discouraged, because we say to ourselves, you know, I was hoping to be able to talk to somebody that I could get in touch. Just dropped my mic. Hold on a second. I could get in touch with someone that knows what they want, and I can go show them homes this weekend. And so the first thing that I want you guys to know, this is the first thing that I want you to write down, is you need to take on the disposition of a passionate and curious teacher. We've all had teachers in school that were there and were miserable. You know, they're the teachers that say, open your books to page 39, and someone raised their hand to read the 10 pages, and then we're going to talk about it. And it's agonizing and it's boring. And then all of us have also had teachers throughout our high school or college or real estate career that when you brought up an idea, it brought them to life, specifically opposing ideas. So when the student would say, I don't think what you're saying is true, all of us have had at least one teacher that would look at that student and say, that's fascinating. Tell me more why you feel that way. They were so passionate about the subject that they were teaching, and so curious as to why the student felt the way that they did, that instead of being offended or irritated by the rejection or by the push-off, that they actually found themselves magnetically attracted to this person because they were curious. Now, I happened upon this strategy accidentally, right? So in the course of my 25-year career, I also moonlighted as a pastor, and you know, running a volunteer organization is not without its challenges. And so here I am trying to pay my bills, selling real estate. I get a lead on the phone, and the lead says something stupid. I don't remember the details. I'm going to make up the details. The person said to me, well, I can't buy a $200,000 home until I save $50,000. And I remember saying to them, I don't think that's very smart. And they said, excuse me? Now here I am, no sales training whatsoever, naive pastor guy, right? Just trying to help, right? And so the person says to me, yeah, I want to put 25% down. And I said, well, interest rates are 5% at the time. This is a long time ago. I said, they're about 5%. You don't need to put any money down. You've never bought a home. We've got a no money down program in the state of Virginia. Why are you going to spend $20,000 to put down to get 3% interest versus 5%? I said, can't you make more money with your $20,000? And the answer is yes. They could invest in all kinds of things and make more than 3%. And I wasn't trying to overcome an objection. I need you guys to understand this. I heard something that didn't jive with me. It didn't make sense. And instead of, I was gleefully naive to the sales process. So I didn't even know that what I was doing was effectively overcoming an objection. I was just really curious as to why this person decided what they decided. And so this is the first thing. It's being curious and being passionate about the lead and what their story is. And so when they tell you the reason they're not a good lead, so insert blank, I'm waiting, market's changing, interest rates, I'm not that serious, I don't know what I want. I don't care what their objection is. I want you to make them feel heard, because you need to help them become a good student. Yes, you need to be a curious and passionate teacher, but it's a two-way street, because you can teach great, but if it falls on deaf ears, it's not going to get anywhere, right? And so making them feel heard is important in this curious, passionate teacher. My favorite way to make someone feel heard is to compliment them. So they say they're waiting a year. I'm going to say, I'm super impressed with the fact that you're planning things out a year from now. Sounds like you're taking the process seriously. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Like, I don't even know what that looks like, that you're planning a year ahead. Is that something you normally do? Now, here's what's interesting about this particular objection handler. They normally have no idea why they picked a year away. They're telling you that they're not ready yet in a way that makes sense to them. So instead of saying, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I need help, they're saying, I'm waiting a year, because that's just the way that they know to communicate that they're not ready. But by asking them how or what, so you complement their objection, that's the first step of being a curious and passionate teacher. Then I just want you to use one of two words, how or what. How did you decide your, excuse me, I'm getting over bronchitis. How did you decide you're waiting a year? Or what did you consider in your waiting a year? You want to avoid why. Why is like, why did you do that, right? It's just kind of offensive. What you will find in this curious and passionate teacher vibe, when you ask the lead how they decided what they're saying, very rarely will they have clarity. Very rarely will they have a good answer. Occasionally, you're always going to have that engineer or that architect that says, well, I'm waiting for, and they go into detail. That's a totally different conversation, and that is the exception. Not everybody's an engineer. Most people that you talk to lack clarity on why they feel the way that they do. This is your opportunity, and this is what my agents are doing at scale now. We decided we would stop waiting to talk to leads that know everything that they want and have a plan, right? And because there were more people that don't know what they want. And so once they respond with any kind of ignorance, and when I say ignorance, it doesn't actually have to be words. They could say, I'm not sure. Like, you can hear the confusion, right? You can hear it come out of them. Or they might say, I don't know. What we have found that works fantastic with this objection handler is telling them what they need to do. Now, what some of you do here is you don't tell them what they need to do. I'll get into the people that are too nice and why you're too nice in a moment. For now, I want to stick specifically with, they tell you why they're not interested. You ask them how, they express ignorance. From here, what you do, or what you need to do, is you need to say to them, we should meet. This is too important. This is likely the largest financial transaction of your life. You owe it to yourself to go over the process with me for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and review what this process looks like. So you are in the moment, your close and what you're selling and what you're advocating for is education. First of all, they are not expecting you to do this. They are expecting you to say things motivated by fear, like, if you wait, rates will go up. If you wait, you're wasting money on rent, because you're trying to subtly influence them to make that purchase. When you advocate for education and advocate for meeting with them, You are not doing what they expected you to do. What ends up happening is they realize that you're making a lot of sense. Now, there's a lot of industries that this would not work. Car sales, insurance sales, there's a lot of scenarios where this wouldn't work. What makes real estate such a unique industry is that by the time the consumer comes to a website, and more importantly, by the time they go through the Ojo filtering process of them working with the lead for you and talking to them, by the time they get to you, they actually are starting to express a long-term interest in the process. So they actually want this. What I secretly know, and I've watched, I have tons of data around this, when a consumer meets with the prospect and we sit down with them and we make it easy with them, we use the phrase empower. That's a buzzword in our culture. So you need to use that. I want to sit down with you and empower this process so that you're not guessing on what is likely the largest financial transaction of your life. From there, what's going to happen is you're actually going to find people that meet with you that are in a financial position to buy without you pushing at all, are consistently going to want to buy within the next 3 to 4 months. We see this over and over again. And it's because we're making the process easy for them. They're not having to guess and wonder. And I want to pause for a moment. Remember, I started with this juxtaposition of, agents looking for people that have clarity, consumers not having clarity, and we're not intersecting. We're not crossing paths because we're missing each other. When you do this, you're not looking for clarity anymore. You're looking for ignorance, confusion, fear, misinformation. And we both know most of the leads that you talk to have that in abundance. So you just opened up your lead pool by going like, I'm looking for this one scenario, to suddenly you've opened up a treasure trove of opportunity. And I jokingly say that in my market, everybody is fishing around this one pond. They all have their hooks in, and they're all looking for consumers that are transaction ready. Yes, can we look at a home this weekend? Yes, can you come stick a sign in my yard this weekend? Everybody's looking for that lead. Meanwhile, I'm over here talking to everybody that has no idea what they want, and I got all the room in the world. Nobody else is fishing in this pond with me, right? And so for you guys, talking to these people and selling education, selling a sit-down appointment, and not offering it. So this is subtle, but I need you guys to understand something. What I'm not saying to do is to say things like this to people. Would you like to meet? Hey, I'd love to meet with you sometime if you want. No. That's not what I'm saying, because you're still depending on clarity on behalf of the consumer. If I say to them, if you want, I am leaving the decision on whether they see value in what I'm saying. And I need to know the value of what I'm saying independently of how the consumer responds to me. So when I say this, I don't say things like, if you'd like to meet, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to go over the process. Would you like that? No. I need to tell them. I need to be a leader here. John, what I'm hearing is that you don't have it figured out, and that is a perfect time to meet with me. My other clients loved meeting with me well before they were ready to transact so that I can actually help them prepare over the next year, right? And so what you're doing is you're taking on that role of leadership. If we're being honest, a lot of you have a disposition of a waiter or a waitress, which is a perfectly honorable career choice. However, you're waiting for people to put the order in. And this is actually what the consumer thinks your job is. The consumer thinks that you're like DoorDash for real estate. When it's time to open the door, they go to their app and they click the button and they say, can you open the door of 123 Smith Street? They think you're DoorDash for selling. When it's time to list the home, they click the button on their phone. You come over and stick a sign in the yard. You need to understand that by you waiting for them to have clarity, you are playing into that whole misconception of your role. By waiting for them to tell you, by saying things like, if you'd like, or would you be interested in, you're playing into this whole DoorDash of real estate vibe that's having you leave money on the table. Now look, If you call the lead and they say, I'm so glad you called, I got to move in 30 days, be DoorDash for real estate. When do you want to go see 123 Smith Street? I will be there. I will see you at 2 o'clock. Y'all have no problem with those leads. That's not what I'm here to train you on. I'm here to train you on all the money that you're leaving on the table, thinking that you're dealing with tire kickers and looky-loos. I need y'all to know something. I'll probably sell 800 homes this year, and most of them started with leads saying to me, I'm not serious. I'm waiting a year. I'm not that interested. I'm making all my money off of the people that don't know what they want. And so I had to get to the place where I recognized that the most compassionate thing that I could do for the consumer is be a leader for them. And look, for most of us, we've built our career off of being accommodating, being kind, being responsive to people's needs. Your sphere calls you and they say things like, John, I've been, Barry, I've been wanting to talk to you. I need to sell my house. And you just get to respond. That's great. So glad to hear that. Let me work up a CMA. When can I stop by and walk the home? And they love you for it. Barry, my friend bought a home with you and they're looking. Can you help me? Sure, no problem. When can you meet me at the office? We'll go over things, right? I'm responding. And you get bummed out because these leads that don't know you don't have the same clarity. And you guys, myself included at one point in my career, you blame the lead source. You say, these leads don't know what they want. I'm not making any money. Y'all, I switched lead sources like I changed socks, seriously, for years and years and years. And I kept thinking it was the lead source's problem. And it was because I was ignorant. I was out of touch to what the consumer needed. I only saw through the lens of people that work with me, like talking to me and know what they want. And so the second they didn't like me because they don't know me and they don't know what I want or what they wanted, I blamed the lead source. And it was because I didn't understand the opportunity. And so when you talk to leads, for most of us, we're motivated in this moment, right? So we're dealing with people that don't know what they want. They lack clarity. I've told you how to handle those objections. I've told you how to close for the appointment. Now what we're dealing with is trying to talk to people, and how do you get the gumption to actually talk to them? Because you're used to making people happy all day. And when the stranger's on the other end of the phone, they don't want to talk to you. And you can hear it in their voice. They're like, yeah, I'm kind of busy. And in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm bothering this person. And we say something really lame like, can I email you some information and you call me when you're ready? I'll check in with you in 6 months. That's what, if we're being honest, that's what we do. And then we get off the phone and we pat ourselves on the back and we say, I'm so glad I'm not a pushy agent. I don't want to be a pushy realtor, right? And we think that somehow it's a better way of living because we make ourselves feel good about ourselves not being pushy. Well, the problem with this is we're actually motivated by a selfish motive to get people to like us. We are bothered when the consumer on the other end of the phone doesn't want to talk to us. And so we end up becoming worthless to these strangers on the other end of the phone. And then we complain because they don't call us back. We call them a week later, 2 weeks later to check in, and they don't want to talk to us. And it's because we are so focused on getting them to like us that we talk about really lame things. Like, I had one agent that kept talking to people about where they grocery shop. And look, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not unprofessional. But she would have notes on the chocolate ice cream that the lead would buy, and she would, oh, I love that grocery. I love Trader Joe's. Oh my gosh, the cashier on aisle 3 is always so funny. Like, they would really connect on grocery stores. And it's because she was just trying to get them to like them instead of focusing on how can I serve this person? How can I help this person with the largest financial transaction of your life? And so when you're calling these people and you feel the disconnect, right? They don't know what they want. You're looking for people with clarity. And then you have to sit in this discomfort of them not wanting to talk to you. I need you to not be motivated by getting the stranger on the other end of the phone to like you. It is not fair for you to burden strangers with your need to feel accepted and approved of. You need to gain your self-acceptance somewhere else, your faith, your family, your friends. It is not fair for these people to be burdened by your insecurity of, oh my gosh, they don't like talking to me. What am I going to do? How am I going to say it? You need to obsess. You need to take on the role of a curious and passionate teacher and obsess with the stranger on the other end of the phone. This allows nice people that love to serve others to crush it in real estate. Because when a nice person that is ethically motivated, meaning they care about doing right by others, catches a vision that they were caring for themselves more in their ego than they were the stranger on the other end of the phone, when they catch a vision of this, they are freaking unstoppable. Because what happens is now, yes, I'm technically overcoming objections, but I'm doing it with a heart filled with a desire to serve the stranger on the other end of the phone. So when they say to me, I don't want to talk to you, I can chuckle to them and say, look, I get it. I don't like talking to strangers either. I was actually calling because you registered on my website. You spoke with my assistant about the home sale process, and I wanted to get more information so that I can give you direction on the next steps. Think about how different that is. And when the lead says to some of us, I don't want to talk to you, I'm not interested. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had your information. They told me to call. Well, listen, I don't want to bother you. Do you want me to just email you and we can, like, that's what most of us are doing. And it's because we can feel it. We're like, oh my gosh, they hate me. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, they are ignorant to my value and they're about to make a huge mistake. What's interesting about this, you guys, is normally a good person, a motivated person in professional sales. It's the characteristic of a good salesperson normally is like that calloused personality. They've figured out how not to care, right? They say things like buy or die, or close the sale. Who cares? They don't like me. I'm gonna hang up and call another one, right? They've figured out how to push through the discomfort by pushing their feelings away. And in every organization, there's a couple of those people. But what I found, and the reason why I wrote the book that I wrote, is because there were a lot of people that are fantastic teachers. They love people, they're intelligent, and they sit at their computer and they alphabetize their files, their pencils are color coordinated, and they're just sitting there going broke because nobody knows what they want. Meanwhile, the calloused, hardened salesperson is the one that's crushing it because he's learned how to push through the discomfort. And so I've built an organization of salespeople. I've got a bunch of gatherers in my office. I don't have a lot of hardcore calloused closers. I would hire them. They just don't fit in my culture because I'm all feelings, emotional intelligence, and it's uncomfortable for them. So they normally don't stick around a long time. And so if you find yourself calling leads consistently and you're not making any money on the Ojo platform, this workshop, this masterclass, this is for you because you're probably really capable. You've spent how long? How long have I been yapping? I don't even know. 30 minutes, whatever. Yeah, 30 minutes so far. Teaching you how to level up in your business. You're conscientious. You know how to work Zoom. That's not everybody knows how to work Zoom, believe it or not, right? So you're conscientious, you're working hard, and yet you're not making any money. This is for you. You need to stop being selfish. When you think about that fear of them not liking you, and you think about that fear of you're bothering people, you are thinking about yourself, and you are lying to yourself, thinking that somehow by you keeping your mouth shut and not advocating that they learn more about the process, somehow you tricked yourself into thinking you're doing that person a favor, and you are worthless to them when you do that. They are left to their own devices and Google and all these other platforms, people that are paying a lot of money. One of the things I love about Ojo is the way that they've structured their programs is we have a shared interest in success. So there was a lead source that I will leave unknown that 10 years ago, I was spending $100,000 a month on. That changed my culture because I had to sell a lot of houses every month to be able to meet that monthly expense. And it sucked. I had to sacrifice processes and people to be able to meet that monthly budget. With Ojo, what I'm able to do is I'm able to move much more streamlined, but it still comes down to the same thing. I've got to close some deals. So the prospecting is being handled. Ojo's dealing with that for me. Now I need to take every conversation that I have. I need to understand, going back to what I said in the beginning, where the consumer is at. Stop expecting them to have clarity. Not fair. They don't know what they want yet. Stop hoping that they'll put an order in and you'll be their DoorDash realtor. Start being their professor. Start listening to them like your doctor does. You don't walk into the doctor's office and they say, hey, good to see you. What kind of medicine would you like today? That's illegal. Doesn't work that way, right? They consult with you and then they tell you what you need to do next. That is the role that you need to take with these people. And when, not if, but when you feel nervous, when you feel scared, I need you to have courage. See, I thought that courageous people weren't afraid for years. Like, man, that person's courageous, right? These are like the heroes, the men and women in the armed forces, for example, charging into battle. They're courageous because of what they're doing, right? And then one day it hit me that if you aren't afraid, you actually don't need courage. Let's let you sit in that for a second. If you're not afraid, you don't need courage. Courage is the decision to do something while you're afraid. And I know it sounds silly, calling leads, oh, you need courage, you're afraid. But that's why some of y'all don't call leads. We do everything else all day. We're busy. We're uploading our documents. We're calling the appraiser back. We're working on our PICRA, right? We got our coffee. We're working. We're calling agents back on our showings. Everything and anything to get in the way of actually calling strangers on the phone. And then we say, I just don't have time. No, you're just afraid. You're afraid of discomfort and you're afraid of being rejected. And you know what? It's okay. I am too. You just have to decide to be courageous enough to have 2 to 3 minutes of discomfort when you talk to these people. And just understand, be empathetic. Understand, they don't understand your job. They think you're DoorDash. So when you start asking them these questions, right, what ends up happening is you hear them not have clarity on what their needs are. And then as soon as you hear that ignorance, as I said earlier, that fear, that confusion, that misinformation, that's your moment to take on the role of a strong leader. And when you take on that role of a strong leader, they're going to listen to you because you're going to speak with pathos and conviction, and you're going to say to them, I hear you trying to figure it out. I love that for you. This is probably the largest purchase of your life. We need to meet. I have an agent on my team that works Ojo leads, and she did this exact thing. She called the lead. She's a housewife, not a professional, just got her license. The thing with her is, man, when I tell her to do something, she does it. She does it. She just is like, all right, Barry, let's do it. It's like amazing. She got a lead on the phone. They're in the military. They were like, yeah, I'm waiting a year, but I'm excited, 6 months to a year, but I figured I would start talking to people. I love that, Mr. Smith. I tell you what, why don't we meet at Waffle House? I still think it's hilarious that she closed with a Waffle House. Let's meet at Waffle House. She told me that she was nervous, and so comfort food kind of made it like easier somehow. She met with them, empowered them. The result? They ended up buying in 4 months. Apparently, they were much more ready than they thought. And that's not unusual. For some reason, my camera keeps going on now. Sorry. And so great question here. Calling isn't the problem. Having them answer is the problem. And I'm so glad you brought that up. Because being too nice for sales also impacts being too nice for follow-up. Why do I say that? Because some of y'all say, well, I called them last week, I don't want to bother them. Or your voicemails Hey, checking in, touching base, seeing how it's going. If you guys, I guarantee you at least 50 of you, actually we've got what, almost 300? I'd say like 100 of you probably use that, touching base, checking in. We've got laughing emojis flying up the screen because people are like, yeah, all right, he's reading my mail. Look, if you're doing that, you need to understand what the consumer hears. Will you call me so you can tell me how to do my job? Camera's bothering me. Hold on a second. Will you call me? There we go. Turn it off. Will you call me back? So I leave a message. When you say touching base, seeing how it's going, give me a call. What the consumer hears is the burden of having clarity on the process to call you and tell you what they need to do. That's why they don't call you back. I wouldn't call you back. I'm helping my kids with my homework. I just got done grocery shopping. The last thing I want to do is think for you. So now what I tell my agents, when you do your follow-up, you need to do like the magazines do at the grocery aisle. Three recipes to lose belly fat, right? That's a PG magazine cover. Why do they do that? Because they're telling you, if you open this magazine, you can expect 3 recipes that will make your belly small. Hey, John, I had 2 things about your home search that I needed to tell you about. When you have 5 minutes, call me back. Hey, John, I saw this article on home buying. I think you're going to love it. Give me a call when you have a second. Hey, John, I know you're not even close to ready, but I just saw a home in the area you were looking, and I wanted to tell you all about it. Come on, y'all. Y'all know this is going to work. Because now I'm setting the expectation that when the consumer calls me back, they can just receive from me. This goes back to being a leader. This goes back to being a teacher, a guide. Y'all can't leave messages like DoorDash. Hey, when you're ready to plug in that order of what you want, you give me a call. I'm here. I'll answer that phone. That is not valuable at all. And so what you need to do is you need to tell these people what they need, right? You need to tell them what they want. I guarantee you, not every person is going to call you back when you do this, but y'all are going to go from 0 return calls to a significant increase in return calls. My favorite is text. What I do is I text them and I say, John, I've been trying to reach you. I had a home near where you were looking. I got a blog that I think you'd love. I got a buyer's guide that I think you would love to read. I wasn't sure if you wanted to text or email it. They respond. Go ahead and text, Barry. Shoot me an email, Barry. Perfect. Do you have 5 minutes? Chat on the phone about it? Maybe later today? Boom. Texting is going to get a higher response rate. And you need to segue to a call. Also, while I'm here, this isn't really fit the class, but it's a great nugget for some of you. You need to text them your name and number and company you're with. Do it the way that I said. I had 2 things to share with you about your search. When you have a second, call me back. Barry with Better Homes and Gardens. When you call them after iOS 14, we're on iOS 17 now, but since iOS 14 on the iPhone, when you text your name and company, when you call them, instead of their phone ringing and saying spam likely, it will say maybe Barry Jenkins. This is a huge life hack, okay? Because now what you're doing is you're teaching the phone that this maybe is someone that they want to talk to. So I see a lot of comments, Jeremiah. Do you want me to, I don't know, should I haven't read them all, but I want to give space for everybody to kind of dive in a little bit to what we're saying.
Yeah, a lot of it is like, hey, wait, say that again. I think the thing that would be helpful, Barry, is a lot of times when I sit on these, what I see and observe agents do is they anchor to what the speaker says versus how the speaker thinks. And so agents tend to scramble to write down, hey, call me back. I have 2 things about your home search. And they miss the point, which the point is there's a way that you are thinking that is causing you to say the things that come out of your mouth and sound the way that you sound and get the response that you're getting. And so for those of you listening, this is the part I want you to tune in for, because it's not about what Barry says. It's about the way that Barry thinks and approaches the problem.
Love it. Love it. That's huge. It's everything. And if I was to summarize, Jeremiah, it was a really fantastic 100,000-foot view that I think is going to give a lot of clarity to everybody. If I was to summarize how I'm thinking, it's that my expectation is no one really knows what they want. I need to start leading them. And if you've seen the analogy, leaders stand on top of the mountain and yell down, "Come on up, I'm ready for you." Servant leaders come down to the bottom of the mountain and say, "You're not ready, let's walk up together." What I'm advocating that everyone do is to get off the proverbial top of the mountain where we say, "Are you ready yet? Tell me what you want, I'm here." Go down to the bottom of the mountain and say, "You're not ready, hold my hand, this is the way, I'm going to show you what to do." The way that I effectively do that is whoever is asking the questions is controlling the conversation. So the way that I get off the top of the mountain and come down to the bottom is I ask really good questions. Some of my favorite questions are indirect. They don't require clarity. So I don't ask leads, what kind of home do you want? Are you pre-approved? Do you have an agent? Ojo does a great job of a lot of those questions. I personally don't even talk about it. I use a lot of indirect questions to surface conversation to connect with them. So for example, instead of what kind of home do you want, I say, "Hey, I'm sure you're not quite ready. What do you want to change about where you live right now?" I let them complain about their current home, and it backdoors into a conversation about what they would like. And I'm effectively leading them down the path of self-discovery, which people pay therapists a lot of money for, by the way. So like I'm leading them, I'm getting off the top of the mountain, I'm coming down to the bottom of the mountain, I'm asking well-framed, well-thought-out questions to walk them up the process. And I'm effectively growing my opportunities as a result.
Yeah, and what I hear from you, Barry, is you are genuinely curious, right? And I think that's the thing our industry tends to miss. Now, there's an agent on here that they asked a question to the host and panel, said, "Hey, I have this script for expireds. I don't know how good it is. Can I share it with you?" And they sent it over, right? And so I'm reading it. This is not an expired script, by the way. This is like a buyer lead conversion script. But I think this script is like, it's indicative of a challenge in our industry, right? At the end of the day, in our industry, the end zone is really simple. It's somebody buying or selling a piece of real estate.
Yep.
All that Barry is encouraging you to do is, instead of having an agenda and trying to move somebody through a pre-qualification to a buyer's consult into showing so that they can sign your buyer broker and tour homes on your schedule, just be curious about where they're coming from. Seek to understand them. And then when you understand their perspective and where they're coming from, it'll give you the jurisdiction to help them understand the reality of the world and how you can help. And just the natural genesis that occurs in that exchange is that you become the right person to be their real estate agent, because you took the time to understand them. You got on their page, you came down the mountain, you got with them, like Barry said, and then you said, like, "Hey, cool, I got you. I see where you want to go. Check it out. There's a trailhead over here that's way easier than the thing you're doing right now."
Exactly. Yeah. And we're not selling pens, right? We're not selling vacuum cleaners. I don't need to convince them of buying a home. They came to me already wanting it in this Ojo ecosystem. So like, I've got this huge advantage of dealing with humans that want what I do. I just have to become valuable to them. Yeah. And you can't motivate someone unless you know what they're motivated by. So the whole curiosity thing is discovery and figuring out what they want so that I can actually help them like get there, right? And this is especially true, Jeremiah, of when people say things like rates are too high, right? As soon as money comes up, I'm waiting for prices to drop. I put a pin in it, right? Say, okay, that makes total sense. It's a lot of money. Let me ask you, what had you looking in the beginning? And there's a lot of people. I'm obsessed with IDX search behavior, right? Ojo's bringing me people that started by searching. What had you searching originally? You want to discover, do they need a third bedroom because they just had a kid? Are they tired of their hour-long commute? Is there the rental they have, is there somebody over them that's really loud and they can't sleep at night? What's motivating them to search right now? And is that increase in cost, because rates are high, worth it to them? And I'm going to tell y'all, there's a lot of people that don't mind paying, that can afford it, $500 to $1,000 more for peace. Not everybody. But Ojo's finding the people that at least were motivated enough to go significantly through the sales process of talking to people, of getting scrubbed, and then landing in my account. There's something there that's motivating them, and I need to help flush it out.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Okay, I'm going to pivot us to Q&A. Are you okay with that? Cool.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
By the way, amazing talk. I love it. I love your approach. If you all liked Gary's talk, hit those reactions or comment or do something so that he knows, because on our side, we don't see you. You see us. There you go. Look how much less lonely we are now with all those hearts. Okay, cool. So first question, Rachel asks, love your book. I listened to it twice on Audible. What's your favorite nice thing that you do that most sales agents don't do and you think is a big mistake besides the DoorDash mentality?
The biggest nice thing I do, besides the DoorDash, so I'm not waiting for them to have clarity. I think probably the nicest thing that I can do is sit in my discomfort and lead them those first few minutes of the call. I think it's incredibly compassionate of me to position myself in a position to be vulnerable to rejection, hear them not want to talk to me, feel them not want to talk to me, and still be a strong leader in the presence of it. I think that I think it's really hard, and I think it's very kind of me to do it.
Love it. I love it. There's another question. And actually I'm going to answer this one, Barry, and then I want you to like pile on and fix my answer. What type of budget should you spend on monthly leads? Gary Carter, that's a great question. And one of my favorite questions that agents ask. Here's the answer. If you look at most agents throughout the country, if they are sphere-based agents, meaning most of their business comes from repeat referrals, et cetera, and they're not marketing-based, they are generally spending 10% of what they make on marketing and advertising. And that is mostly getting photos of listings and putting stuff in the MLS, et cetera. So if that agent's making 100 grand, they're spending 10,000 plus or minus on marketing. If somebody is a marketing-based agent or team, they're a big team like Barry's, they're doing a lot of internet lead gen, I see that number go as high as 30%. So here's what I would tell you. Gary, if you want to make $1 million, you are probably signing up to spend about $25,000 a month or somewhere around $300,000 a year on marketing to generate the business to do $1 million in GCI. This question that agents ask of like, well, how much should I spend on something? It's this very ephemeral question that like the right answer to it is like, well, how much money do you have in your bank account that you're willing to invest in your business that you may or may not ever get back? And so it's like a super personal question, but the right answer is you should expect a 3 to 8x return on what you spend, and you should invest the amount of money that you are comfortable with investing, that it is appropriately sized to the business you're trying to create.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, like, do you have like a degree in accounting, or is that just your experience? No, because like that was like very like financially sound advice. Let me answer it differently so I can add value, because honestly, I don't think I can add anything to what you just said. I think it was spot on. If you're on a team, I don't want my agents getting more than 30 at-bats a month. If I give them more than 30, I'm teaching them to wait for somebody that's really easy, right? On average, my agents, and this is not just Ojo, this is encompassing of all of our online lead gen, they make about 100 outbound attempts a week, both text and email. They normally talk to about 20 people. Of the 20 people they talk to, they typically disposition 2 as hot and warm. And that takes them hours every week, probably 10 hours a week, right? Now, so if you've got a large Ojo account, you don't have to go through that same process of spending hours to find those 2. That's probably what I would tell you guys is just like, look at the at-bats you're getting. And of course, the better you get at the conversation, those numbers, you don't have to make as many. You basically take the 20 conversations and you're able to get more than a 10% disposition rate. Maybe you get 50%, right? You hold on to everybody, you're super sticky and you just make it happen. But and then you can spend more or less depending on how good you are at converting those conversations into clients.
Hi, it's Chris Heller at Dojo. We have a lot of exciting things we want to
So was that the update?
Yeah. Sorry, that was my fault.
Okay.
I
No, you're good.
muted myself. I was trying to answer. Somebody asked, how do I get on the platform? And I went to go copy it. And I will just warn you, when you click on that link, Chris is going to start talking to you. It's great. Like, build on what you said there, because here's the other thing that I think, especially in this market, I talk to a lot of agents, and a lot of agents are missing this in this market. In a normal market, there's a significant lag between the time that you make an investment in a new marketing source and the time that investment pays a dividend or a yield. In this market, that amount of time is getting longer. So like, if you started investing in lead generation or marketing, like how long do you give it before you say, geez, this isn't working?
Oh, that's a great question. If there is anybody in America making money off of the lead gen platform, then I don't ever say, geez, it's not working. I say, what are they doing different than me? And I adapt really quickly. I think if you say this isn't working and you decide to turn one off and go to another, you're going to go through another year and you're going to say, geez, this isn't working. And then you're going to go another year and say, geez, this isn't working. You're out of touch with the consumer. So I don't think there's like a, this isn't working, I'm going to change scenario for me anymore.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's funny. Like I talk to a lot of agents. I hear agents like, hey, I signed up for this new product. It's $11 a month and I didn't get a lead all month. I think I'm going to cancel it. And I'm like, what planet are you from? And like, come on, really? Like, you gotta, let's play a little bigger. We're building $1 million careers here. But anyways, so Tom asked a really interesting question, and I'm curious on your answer to this. Thomas, how difficult have you found it to break people the habit of being too nice or trying too hard to be liked? What's the turnaround time?
Yeah. So when you're nervous, you use fight or flight, right? So the part of your brain when you're nervous is instinctive. And so what I found when I sit down agents to do this, I basically would do what I just did with you guys. I'd like go through all this mindset and all this stuff, and they'd be like, wow, this is so great. And then they call the lead and the lead answers and they're like, yeah, just seeing if you wanted to buy a home. No? Okay, do you mind if I email you? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So what I do now is I give my agents 3 questions. They have to write them down, put them on a sticky on their computer. And I say, listen, you're going to call a bunch of people. Somebody's finally going to answer. They're going to tell you they don't want to talk to you. Just get over it right now. Don't be surprised by it. Set your expectations. And I literally say to my agent, when they tell you why they don't want to talk to them, compliment them and say, what are you hoping to change about where you live right now? That whole question. I'm sure you're not ready to move. What are you hoping to change about where you live? And they read it. They have to force themselves. And it sounds horrible. What are you hoping to change about where you live right now? Right? Like so bad. And they keep doing it and they keep doing it. And eventually their instincts change to where the questions become normal, but it's trial by fire. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, this is the only way I've found to help nice people change how they talk to strangers about real estate. And then eventually their mindset starts to shift, that they actually start believing that they're helping strangers, and then they get into their groove. It typically takes 90 days. 90 days of collecting conversations, all the Marys and Johns that are hoping to buy one day, right? Maybe 1 or 2 a week. After 90 days, they've got 6 people. These aren't Ojo leads, by the way. With Ojo, I think it would be much faster because I'm already dealing with people who've already talked to Ojo and want to buy or sell. So that's a whole different ball of wax. I would say 30 days of uncomfortable conversations. But if you're looking at lead sources that are just like Google or Facebook or whatever, it's going to take much longer, which is one of the benefits of Ojo. But I would say 30 days on Ojo, 90 to 120 days on other lead sources, and it's trial by fire. Have them read the questions and start to collect all their failures every week. So I literally say to my agents, every time the conversation goes sideways and it doesn't go good, write down the scenario, let's sync up. They have a link to my calendar, and we do a call where we go through, okay, this is what I would have done differently. And so it's just an iterative process, little by little by little. Outside of that, I haven't found, and I wrote a book on it. I still haven't found a way to help people to do it outside of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me try something on. This is what, so you said when the person tells you that they don't want to talk to them right now, and you said you compliment them, right? And so the question is, what does a compliment sound like? This is new to me. I haven't heard this before, but it sounds like the compliment is something like, Barry, I really appreciate that. Most people would just keep me on the phone and then blow me off. And I got to tell you, I appreciate that you're just being direct.
Yeah, nailed it. Find something redemptive about what they said. Anything. Yeah. If they say, I'm waiting for aliens to drop off a bag of money in the back of my yard before I buy my next home, John, if I thought aliens were going to drop off money in my backyard, I'd probably function a little differently too. Hey, let me ask you. So whenever you decide to move, what are you hoping to change about where you live right now? Right? Compliment, move on.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Everybody's asking, what are the other 2 questions?
My favorite initially are, have you had a chance to look at homes with another agent? I think doesn't Ojo already ask if they have an agent though? Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. So with our Ojo leads, we ask, what are you hoping to change? Are you staying in the area? And then I want to talk, so are you relocating? Are you staying in the area? And then the other one is, and they've already been asked about pre-approval, but what we like to ask is, I want to talk about the pre-approval without scaring them away. So instead of saying, who are you approved with, right? I'm going to be indirect and say, hey, do you have a friend in the mortgage business that you trust? And I actually don't care what their answer is. They could say yes or no. I'm just going to say, let me tell you why I'm asking. So again, let me tell you what I asked. Do you happen to have a friend, family member in the mortgage business? There's an assumption of trust there. If I'm asking them if they know a guy, it's less likely that I'm trying to rip them off or take advantage of them. That's why we ask it that way. Do you have anybody in the business? They say yes, they say no. Let me tell you why I'm asking. This is probably the largest purchase of your life. Sounds like you're still trying to clarify some things. I'd love to sit down with you, or even I'd love to have my lender call and really sharpen the pencil, see if there's some great programs. But basically all roads with an Ojo call are going to lead to a consult appointment, either at my office with just me or at my office with my lender. That's our close. And we're going to sell the fact that they're guessing, they're not quite ready, right? And after we meet with them, let me add this in. I don't want to overwhelm everybody, but a great way to go from that initial appointment where we talk about the process and big picture, I say, you know what? You're not ready, but I know you want to live in Salem Woods or Salem Lakes in Virginia Beach. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go look at a house this weekend and you're not allowed to buy it. It'll be fun. Are you available Saturday at 10? This crushes. I want to show you a home. You're not allowed to buy it. You take the fear, because you can't learn when you're afraid. You take the fear and the pressure. We only do one. I'm not saying go show 50 houses, right? I'm saying one. First one's free. Show them one and get them to start to see what their money can buy them. It works really, really well.
Cool. All right. We have a minute left. I have like at least a minute of Ojo stuff to go over.
Yep.
Give us a parting thought, and we're going to email this out to everybody. Hang with us for 30 seconds after, but Barry, close this out with your thoughts.
Some very intelligent people developed Ojo to create consumer opportunities that are looking to buy or sell a home. They have not told me to say this, by the way. The fact that I have an opportunity to talk to buyers or sellers about buying or selling a home and not have to pay an exorbitant cost up front is a tremendous opportunity. Press into those opportunities and find success, and don't be too nice for sales.
That's amazing. All right, everybody, give Barry some love. And as you give Barry some love, tell us that you are still here, because Jenna is going to drop the legalese in the thing that we have to tell you, so that you know that our contest isn't rigged and that I just keep all your merch. But hey, there's like two quick updates you need to know about Ojo. And I really hope you take to heart what Barry shared with you, because it will help you not just on Ojo, but on all the platforms. So there is a change we made to our consumer experience. You need to know about it, and you need to care about it for two reasons. One is, it's good to know when your clients are getting information and we're putting your face next to everything and your bio and all your information in their homeowner tools, everywhere that they can go in our experience. We are telling them about you after we've connected them to you. The goal here is to increase the stickiness, to make it a stronger relationship. But the key, and the reason you need to know, is that if you have not uploaded a headshot, if you have not edited your bio, if you haven't put in your information in your Agent Tools account, it could get real weird. So please, like, don't do your best car selfie. Use a professional headshot. You would not believe the amount of car selfies that are in our Ojo Agent Tools. Go take a professional headshot, upload it in there, because we're starting to show those to people everywhere. Second, Jenna's going to paste a link right now in the chat. If you have, for some reason, gotten opted out of our emails, there's a chance that you're missing lead offers, you're missing valuable information. When you go in, click the link, put your email address in, you'll see a little thing right here at the bottom that says it looks like you've opted out. Click there, you'll get an email. You click update preferences, opt back in, you'll be back in the good. You'll be eligible to receive everything from us. Last thing for today, we have another one of these coming up. They're kind of tight. They're only 2 weeks apart. Next one is with Greg Harrelson. If you don't know Greg, Greg runs one of the most tremendous phone calling operations that I've ever seen. I've learned a lot from Greg. Greg was a mentor when I started doing this 20 years ago. So I'm excited to be able to share some time with people like Barry and Greg and keep driving value for you all. So for those of you that are still here, make sure you comment here. This is your last opportunity to do that, to enter our merch giveaway. Barry, thank you so much. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate your time. I've got a ton of notes for my team. This has been tremendous. For all you out there, have an awesome Wednesday, and we'll see you later in the week.